Here we have the current stock market update for SoFi Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker SOFI. Before we begin with today's chart analysis, if you find these educational materials to be helpful in your trading, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons so that other traders can find this information more easily on the platform. So as we can see here, the share price itself is starting to trade under a bit of selling pressure at the moment. What we're starting to see is a near-term price low, which does come in below the prior support zone that we were watching previously. This is a bit of a short-term breach here. This really wasn't much of a downside price movement, and share prices did sort of quickly reverse here. So there is some scope that, the market was actually trying to find some support here, but we will need to see sort of a more sustained movement higher here in order to really draw that type of conclusion. So as things currently stand, I will continue to say that the this near-term support zone at 760 is the most important price zone. But what is really going to need to happen here, as we can see if we sort of drill into the price chart here, we can see the near-term high comes in right around 783. We can mark that in here. And we're really going to need to see a breach of that area in order to start to sort of draw the conclusion that the market really was trying to find support in this area. Otherwise, we're going to have to start referring to this as a support break to the downside. The reason that I would point to 783 in particular largely comes from the fact that this is now a region of historical resistance, as well as the 200 period exponential moving average region is roughly falling right in line there. So as things currently stand, if share prices were able to break back above that area, then we would be able to say that share prices have broken through a prior resistance zone, successfully closed above there if we do see, for example, an hourly close in that area. And then also the share price itself would be trading above its entire exponential moving average cluster. But as things currently stand, this is a region of concern here because we're starting to see some lower highs that have developed here, and the fact that we weren't able to really catch prices at that 760 level, is a bit of a concern here as far as the potential for share price movements lower. So, currently what we're still looking at here is a resistance area at 852 that has not been touched since that interest rate decision. So it's very interesting here. All we've done is really move lower, except for a bit of a share price movement, a bit of a bounce here off of 760 previously, which is where that $8.10 resistance zone started to form. So, as it stands here currently, what we're looking at is a series of lower highs that is starting to develop here. A lot of people are probably being taken by surprise because, there was supposed to be this big interest rate decision. Everybody's talking about this Federal Reserve rate cut. And then what actually happens here? Share price does nothing but move lower and then start to develop lower highs in the process. So, there are some real questions here about where the stock is headed next. There has been a lot of, there are a lot of green candles that are showing on this 15-minute price chart here. So you could still try to make the argument that the stock was trying to find some support in this area, but the possibility that will turn out to be the case, the probability, I should say, is starting to diminish as time goes forward here. If we take a look at the indicator reading just quickly, we can see that the overall trend reading here does remain mostly positive. There really isn't much to be found in the negative direction on the short-term indicator reading, and share prices have managed to sort of bounce out of oversold territory, and there is still a fair amount of room here to extend to the top side. So there really isn't much suggestion here that we're going to be seeing resistance levels form here anytime soon. But the major risk here would be that if we do start to see share prices move lower, there would be the possibility here that we could start to lose this momentum reading that is showing in the positive direction. So those are some factors to watch. I mean, we're really not seeing much here in the momentum reading because this is a bit short term here. As I said, this is just a 15-minute price chart, and then even on this price chart, this momentum reading is relatively short term in nature. So there's not a lot going on here. So it's really looking kind of sideways at the moment with a moderately bullish bias. And then, there is the possibility here that share prices do have, the possibility, the room to extend here to the top side, because, there is a lot of space in this indicator reading before we were going to be starting to become overbought. So just finally here, we'll drill out to a bit of a different time reading just to close out the video, just to see if we can get some other readings in the relative strength index that would be a bit more, telling as far as where share prices can actually move. And as we can see on the, on the 5 minute price chart, things don't look much different. I mean, this really does look like it's the same momentum wave that is sort of guiding things there. But then, if we do look a bit longer term, we can see that there's really more than one momentum reading in the positive direction, whereas there's sort of just one showing in the negative direction. And those are both shorter term in nature. So, overall, the momentum readings I would say are still positive. But if we do start to see that 760 area convincingly broken to the downside, I think these indicator readings are probably going to start to reverse in the other direction. So this really is the level to watch here at the moment. The question that we would be asking at this point is, has this been a false breakout here to the downside? There's some reason to believe that that could be true because there was a fairly significant bounce after spiking through here. There really wasn't much time that was spent below 760. And as we can see, this is a region that has now been tested on several occasions. The thing that would just worry me the most here about, calling this a bullish potential price move in here near term would be that we are looking at a series of lower highs at the moment. Share prices really aren't able to gain much momentum in the upward direction. And, a lot of this probably has to do with the trading activity that did occur post interest rate decision. I mean, I think that there were just a lot of people that got in at these higher levels that were shorter term in nature. The internet term that gets used, that gets thrown around a lot is, paper hands. So that does sort of apply here to some extent because, on a short-term basis, if, people are hearing all these things that share prices are just going to start rocketing higher and then it doesn't happen, those people might quickly start to close their positions. So a lot of that hype, this is a pretty good example of how all of that hype really can have the exact opposite effect. We've got all this positive news and positive expectation, but then when it doesn't unfold, people start to throw in the towel here relatively quickly. So here's the current stock market update for SoFi Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker SOFI. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market, lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.